all, welcome to the show. This is the independent show I'm going to be doing by myself. It's not going to be as long as a podcast, maybe. Welcome to the show, folks. All right, so my name is Dylan, also known as DSA Laurent. I got my microphone right here. I just wanted to keep it on the table to see how I was feeling about it real quick. First of all, welcome to the show. This is the independent show I'm going to be doing by myself. It's not going to be as long as a podcast, maybe like 20, 30 minutes an episode. Might do it once every 2 weeks, maybe 1 week. I already tried filming this video before. The file got corrupted. That's fine because there's been more updates that came out anyway since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. To the widow, to Mrs. Kirk. Our hearts here at the Roll Up are with you. This is an insane and evil world we live in, and Charlie tried to make it better. And it's really, really, really sad what this world is really capable and planning and plotting and is currently up to. We're going to be talking about all that. That's a whole purpose of these little segments that we're going to be doing. It's about tapping in on what's really going on so that people around here in the local area and people beyond will be able to know what's going on, at least from a college perspective. So let's put everything into terms, right? So first we're going to be going over, Turning Point USA. Then obviously we do know about the events. I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this video saw the actual video of Charlie Kirk getting assassinated like I did. I saw the legit video. There was no censor. It was just raw footage, and it was insane to watch, deeply disturbing, horrifying for the family, an act of pure evil, and despicable on all regards. It's just absolutely atrocious, absolutely horrendous that you would, like, even a crazy person. It's just, and that's the thing. I hope that they don't, before we get into all this, I hope that Tyler Robinson, when it comes to the kid, I hope they don't try and play it off as like this kid was insane or trying to pull insanity. There's no way that shit's gonna fly. There's just absolutely no way they'll let that shit fly. Because he intentionally went and did something premeditated, took his time, and that's what they confirmed from the FBI. The FBI confirmed this is not a case of insanity. He will be facing justice regardless of the fact. That's exactly what Charlie would have wanted. If you don't know Charlie Kirk, obviously we're going to get into a little bit about him. He was born in 1993, devoted Christian conservative activist and media figure, best known as the founder and president of Turning Point USA, also known as TPUSA. Started that over in 2012 at age 18. It's a common thing that is stated that it was started in his garage, which is a crazy statement that sounds more Steve Jobs-esque, and quickly grew into one of the most visible voices of Gen Z millennial conservatism, or what we have been calling it recently is moderate conservatism. Beyond that, he did the podcast show that I'm sure people seen recently and have been watching. He regularly appeared on conservative media outlets, a lot of YouTube work, going to different colleges with TPUSA and giving people a voice to be able to speak. There's different chapters for TPUSA in different colleges all over the United States. So go ahead, if you're in college, take advantage. It's definitely something that'll be interesting. And of course, it's always going to help you out on any resume with any job, give you some skills too. I know that they do a lot of different things on campus, and they do also run tables. So if that's your thing, if you're a debatee, or if you like debating in general and just overall speaking your mind, go ahead and see if there's a chapter near you. Everyone knows why it's important to have these type of programs where people are able to speak freely, right? And we're going to get into a little bit of that later. Earlier today, it was reported on multiple different news outlets that Jimmy Kimmel lost his job speaking about Charlie Kirk. On a late night talk show. I'll stay out of it, bro. Stay out of it. 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 The mission of TPUSA is to educate and organize students in principles of limited government, free markets, and constitutional values. Headquarters is in Phoenix, Arizona. They also run a political advocacy known as Turning Point Action and Turning Point Faith, which is a Christian outreach program. So, as far as motive, we're going to get into that in a little bit. Let's get into what I also have note wise here. I got Charlie Kirk. He was assassinated on September 10th, 2025, while speaking at an event in Utah Valley University, UVU, in Orem, Utah. Tyler Robinson, he's 22, is in custody. DNA evidence links Robinson to the crime. DNA matching found on a towel wrapped around the rifle believed to have been used, and on a screwdriver recovered from the rooftop where the shots were fired, and that's according to the Guardian. There is also evidence of a note allegedly written before the shooting stating something like, and I quote, "I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it," end quote. The suspect also allegedly sent a message just before or around the time of the attack. That's according to Reuters. There's a lot of speculation out there about who could have done it, and I got to do some more research on that because DNA doesn't lie. DNA never lies. The FBI and local authorities say the suspect has not been cooperating fully. They are investigating digital footprints, family friend testimonies, and to understand the motive a little bit more. That's also according to The Guardian. However, I've heard plenty of things throughout the past couple days about the roommate, the love interest of Tyler Robinson, coming forward with text messages that pretty much have a confession. Shout out to Law and Crime on YouTube. They've been covering this story every single day. Tyler Robinson was in court, and the death penalty was brought up. Capital punishment was indeed brought up in the topic of conversation. So, here we go. This is going to be a wild goose chase. And that's why people also sit back and they start thinking about conspiracies of, oh, they want us to be like this against each other, which they do. That's exactly what they want. At least when we're talking about a grand scheme of things, they want people to fight each other for some odd reason. But when it comes down to it, it's very with stuff like this. Sometimes you got to take stuff at face value. There's DNA evidence. This guy was seen by the father on footage or on camera, recognized his son, somehow got Tyler Robinson to confess. And then brought him to the police. There were inscriptions on the bullet casings and on the bullet that was shot, and we all know what those messages say. It's just insane. So there's been a couple claims I've also taken notice of that I kind of wanted to go over a little bit. It's just speculation and conspiracy at the end of the day. We're just taking a look at what people are saying. Israel was involved. That's a speculation on it. And I don't really see this one. Although I have seen some media that try to push the narrative a bit more, Charlie Kirk's final weeks and what was going on between him and Israel. We all saw it. Nothing was hidden. He kept saying more and more and more information that he would learn or come to enlightenment on as time came on. And he started asking more questions. So I understand why there was a bit of speculation here, but the claim is that some social media posts claim that Kirk's assassination was orchestrated by Israel or pro-Israel donors because of his changing stance or pressure that he allegedly resisted. Candace Owen has made claims that there was an intervention in the Hamptons involving Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Bill Ackman to pressure Kirk. That's according to the New York Post. I remember watching this on Instagram when Candace Owen was posting clips of this episode of what she's talking about. I remember she said that she had inside sources on this intervention that happened in the Hamptons involving Netanyahu and Bill Ackman. Ackman strongly denies these claims. He said, "At no time have I ever threatened Charlie Kirk. I've never blackmailed anyone, let alone Charlie Kirk." It's according to New York Post. The evidence offered so far does not support any credible proof of Israeli government involvement. Is that there's no proof of any Israeli conflict here. Ideological motive. Authorities say Robinson had political views that differentiated from his conservative family, social isolation, obsession with Kirk, and digital evidence pointing towards ideological hatred. It's according to The Guardian. That one's a clear motive, right? The ideological motive is like the clear motive for what we see. Which also takes away the idea of insanity. It's a prolonged thing. Like I said earlier, it was premeditated. So this is considered plausible by law enforcement. It is one of the main working hypotheses, but still not definitively proven. That's according also to The Guardian. ADL reports up to like 10,000 linking Kirk's death to Israel or accusing Jewish groups. Many used vague or unverified sources or leaned on old comments by Kirk. I've been seeing stuff like this too. It's propaganda and it's wrong because there's no proof. However, there was one guy that all he did was post facts and it didn't. Let's put it this way. When you see this Instagram post, it's been on my story for like 2 days. I think it just got off my story, but it's in my repost. You guys can check it out. Every single one of these little things, he was like, it was insane. It was true. It was happening. One of the biggest ones that I noticed. Okay, and this one is what kind of gets my gears kind of turning a little bit. This intervention that happened was also the same time when Netanyahu offered a donation to TPUSA of 45, like a donation of $45 million. Charlie Kirk probably thought about that, thought about how many ways that could go, said no. I'm good. I don't want your money. If anything, I think that whole thing just made Kirk ask so many more questions. I also want to go over a little bit of Ben Shapiro, right? Shapiro did give a nice, loving tribute after Kirk's death. He said, "Like all of you, I'm utterly stunned and heartbroken and sick to my soul today," end quote. He said that he met Kirk when he was 18 and thought at the time, and I quote, "That kid is going to be the head of the RNC one day," end quote. He emphasized Kirk's principles, biblical values, and called for carrying on his legacy. That's according to the Hindustan Times. And from what's currently published, Shapiro has not been a major figure in the allegations about Israel or in the Owens-Ackman's intervention claims. His involvement seems more in remembrance, commentary, and urging unity. That's according to the Hindustan Times as well. I've seen him kind of stay out of the way of what other people have been saying and just kind of paying respect to his friend, which a lot of mad respect for Ben Shapiro on that. Candace Owen was talking about someone replacing Charlie Kirk's seat on the Charlie Kirk show. Yeah, I don't know. You can't change that seat. You can't just put someone else in that seat. It's the Charlie Kirk show. You cannot put anyone in that seat other than his wife. If his wife is willing to go on the show. There is no other person who I would see fitting to take over the show like that. we're going to go on to official FBI statements. Kash Patel is the FBI director. He has given public updates linking Robinson by DNA and confirming the note and confirming text messages expressing intent. And that's according to The Guardian. Don Bongino, FBI deputy director, mentioned that Robinson had some obsession with Kirk, exhibited warning signs and ideological detachment. Also from The Guardian. You gotta be a severely detached individual. You know what I mean? Like, also says that the FBI is investigating possible accomplices for knowledge and digital evidence, but as of now, no official confirmation of any conspiracy involving foreign governments or donors. That's according to Reuters. And I think that it's important that they keep throwing that aspect that there is zero evidence. There is zero evidence to involve any other governments in this. Period. There's just no proof. As far as what hasn't been verified and what is still unknown, there is no proof that Israel, Netanyahu, or organized pro-Israel donors orchestrated or directly pressured, in the sense of threats or blackmail, the assassination. The intervention claim remains unverified and disputed. And when we look at it for face value, it's ideological, right? And it's mental health. At the end of the day, that's the two big things here: is mental health and ideological disbelief. That right there cooked a recipe for disaster. They haven't been able to put together the full timeline and connections between digital evidence and messages of the suspect. And what they're trying to figure out now at this point, they're trying to figure out if there were any accomplices or assistants in this crime. The authorities are still investigating. FBI is still working on this. I got a couple quotes here. Two of them are from the New York Post. One of them is from the Houston Times. We got a quote from Ackman. At no time have I ever threatened Charlie Kirk, Turning Point, or anyone associated with him. New York Post. Ackman again. I quote, I have never blackmailed anyone, let alone Charlie Kirk, end quote. From Ben Shapiro, and I quote, it was a privilege to watch this principled man stand up for his beliefs. All of us will miss him. We must pick up the baton where Charlie left it. Goodness, end quote. That was from Houston Times. What I can say is this: Charlie Kirk had very strong beliefs, as do a lot of people in this world. He's not the only one. And to hate a man for his belief, or hate a woman for her belief, is, especially when you look at it from a Christian worldview, is completely, hate is completely wrong in all senses of the word. Wishing death upon someone is wrong, right? And at the end of the day, people celebrate death, still go to church on Sunday, hate people online, bash people online for their personal views. People lose their jobs because they have an opinion that might differentiate from yours, or might differentiate from what the idea of good is. But the thing is when you go out there and you start spreading hate and celebrating someone's death, and your job sees that video, how are they supposed to fucking ignore that? How are they supposed to ignore that? People say hateful shit and then think that they if you're doing it in your uniform, first of all, you're fucked. Second of all, if you're out there just doing it in general, saying hateful rhetoric about people, yeah, they're gonna look at that sideways if someone sees that. Even if it's not your job, someone else is gonna see that and say, I got something to say about that. So when he first passed away, it was either one of two things that I saw: people celebrating, people posting already what looked like assassination propaganda within an hour of this man getting shot. Nobody cared who did it. at that point. They were just people that were happy that it was done. But then if it were to happen to anyone else, the feelings change. And that's not how human rights work. And that's not how being human works. Switching the switch on and off for people that you don't like is the difference between what makes you a good and a bad person. That what you do behind closed doors. And if what you're doing behind closed doors is going online and bashing hate towards people, people are going to see you for that. And I feel no sympathy for people for that. One thing that I will say about Charlie Kirk and the people who care about him, they are not doing anything dangerous. They are not starting riots. They are not hurting people. They are not screaming at people in public. At least, not the ones who truly know and give a shit about what Charlie was trying to do. There are vigils, candle lightings, memorial services. People are going to church. I went to church on that Sunday, and it was the most full I've ever seen that church. America is waking up to something different that our generation, the millennials and Gen Z, have not experienced yet, and it was a turning point. It was a fucking turning point, which is why my calendar, September 10th, 2025, will forever be known as the turning point. As more things start to come out, we'll talk about it more on the show. But for right now, that's all I got for you guys. I'm trying to keep the video short. In the meantime, I will say this. Free speech is free speech. Say whatever you want. All I ask on my channel, don't be hateful to anybody. Feel free to debate in the comments. Please don't be hateful to each other. Please love each other. That's what God wants us to do. That's how Jesus wanted us to live, and that's how we're supposed to go about this. We're not supposed to be fighting each other. We're supposed to be working together for a better tomorrow. That's what America's for. I've got a lot more ideas on this that I want to expand on that include with the Epstein files. I think that there's a lot going on right now. The Epstein files are being held over government officials' heads. And so certain moves are being made that would never be made. And that's a very clear as day thing. The question is, the analogy for this is, say, for example, someone's holding a gun to someone's head and says, hey, I want you to do this that you normally do, but you're going to do it my way. My question is, who's holding the gun?